Hello, Bible readers. It's Tuesday, September 8th. We are finishing Leviticus today. It's a good day. 26 and 27, and then Matthew chapter 25, we finish it up and get into chapter 26. And I wanted to start actually with Matthew because there's a little controversy over how to interpret this judgment scene that we come upon in the 25th chapter of Matthew. This judgment scene comes after, three parables about preparing for the coming of the Son of Man. In each case, everybody knows that the master bridegroom will come eventually, no matter how long he may be delayed. In the meantime, what is demanded is watchfulness, right? Constant watchfulness. In this test, the wicked servant, the foolish maidens, and the fearful, lazy steward fail, but the faithful servant, the wise maidens, and the enterprising stewards succeed. Everyone should have known what to do. Some did, and some did not. If these parables can be traced back to Jesus, their audience would have been Jewish, with some division made between Jews who were prepared for the Son of Man's coming and Jews who were not. So the argument that's been made thus far that we've talked about interpretation of these stories is we've argued that they address Jewish Christians and other Jews, providing a warning to be on watch constantly. But this story, today's judgment story, may have a different audience in mind. This might concern the judgment of Gentiles by the Son of Man. A separate judgment for Gentiles is consistent with Matthew chapter 19 in verse 28 when it says, "When the Son of Man shall sit on his glorious throne, you who have followed me will also sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel." Whereas the 12 apostles have a special role in the judgment of Israel, no such role is attributed to them in the judgment of the Gentiles. This is the task of the Son of Man. The idea of separate judgments for Jews and Gentiles appears elsewhere in the New Testament, the most familiar being Romans chapter 2, verses 9 to 10. There will be tribulation and distress for every human being who does evil, the Jew first, and also the Greek, Gentile. These Jewish ideas about the judgment of the Gentiles, a separate judgment by the Messiah on the basis of their treatment of Israel, provide the background for this section of Matthew. What's new or different here is the identification between the Son of Man and these least brothers of mine. And this is a mode of Emmanuel's presence. So I find that interesting that the audience has changed a bit, and we're talking specifically to Jesus making a judgment of the Gentiles. By the way, not all four Gospels go there. Matthew is specifically more concerned with that. The plot to kill Jesus piece, it's ironic, apparently. That's what I read about. I won't share as much about that. But basically, this story works better if you understand the institutions of the day, like the specific workings of those institutions. So again, if it was a Bible study, we'd go deeper into that. But we're Bible reading, and so we just know that the ironic nature of it might get lost on us as we read it. Leviticus, as it finishes, we see into God as disciplinarian, and how willing God is to discipline, but also there's some lament. Like a parent doesn't want to discipline their children harshly, but sometimes they need it in order to grow from it. Promises and blessings of God do not mean that Israel can be disobedient. I think that's one of the lessons to take away from this is just because you've received the special promise to be the chosen people, that doesn't mean you get to be disobedient. It's meant to encourage your devotion and your own personal holiness. In chapter 27, it talks a bit about vows, tithing, and offering your full and total self consecrated to God. The tithing piece, I think, maybe is something that we could go deeper into as far as how it is a moral imperative. Giving to God is something one should do, but then there's also this legal piece of it, exactly how much, 10%. That, of course, has changed over time. Our understanding of tithing and its legal requirement. We have a different context in a time and place where there's separation of church and state. But among all those differences, it's interesting to note that at least in Leviticus, there's a moral obligation to give to God and a legal obligation to give 10%. I am one with my God. My God is with us, all of us, at all times and in all places.